$20, unlimited food. And somewhere between the door and the first plate, you start doing arithmetic. 2 plates of pasta is maybe $8 in a normal restaurant. Add the steak, add the shrimp, add 3 desserts you don't want but are absolutely going to take. You're not being greedy. You're being efficient. You are going to win. There is one problem with that plan. Nobody in that building is trying to stop you. Industry guidance for an ordinary table service restaurant puts food at roughly a third of the bill, around 30%, give or take, depending on who's advising you. The guidance Buffett operators work to runs higher than that, 30 to 45%. Read that again. The restaurant that lets you eat as much as you want spends more of your money on food than the one that brings you a single plate and takes it away. So if the plan was to stop you eating, it is going extremely badly. Nobody in that kitchen is hoping you'll be too polite to go back. Which brings us to the question you actually came here for. Can one person beat the buffet? Let's do it properly. And to do that, I need some numbers, so I'm going to invent them. Everything in the next minute is illustrative. Real food costs vary by supplier, by city, by season, and no operator is going to hand me their invoices. But the mechanism is the point, and the mechanism is real. Say the ticket is $20, and say 4 people walk in. Customer eats lightly, a plate, a bit of salad, a coffee. Call it $4 of food. The restaurant is up 16. Customer B is the average human being. A full plate, a small second plate, a dessert. Call it $8. The restaurant is up 12. Customer C came hungry. 3 plates and the good protein. Call it $14. The restaurant is up 6. And then there is Customer D. Customer D has a strategy. Customer D skipped breakfast. Customer D is eating shrimp with the joyless focus of a man doing his taxes. Call it $26 of food. There it is. Customer D paid $20 and ate 26. On that plate, on that ticket, the buffet lost money. You can beat the buffet. It is genuinely possible, and it happens every single night. So why isn't every buffet dead? Because the buffet never agreed to play you one-on-one. Look at the same night with 100 people in the room. Keep our invented numbers and split the room the way operators describe it. Buffett owners interviewed by the business publication The Hustle put the serious eaters at about 1 in 20. So, 5 customer DS, 15 hungry CS, 60 ordinary BS, 20 lightest. Revenue $2,000. Food $900. That is 45% of the total spent on food, which is exactly the top of the range Buffett operators are told to work to. So our invented numbers are at least behaving like real ones. And the 5 people who beat the buffet, they cost it $30. Between them, the 20 light eaters handed back $320. 1 customer, the buffet loses. 100 customers, the room still works. $11 a head left over to pay for the building, the cooks, the electricity, and the waste. Which tells you what the buffet is really doing. It isn't predicting you, it's predicting everybody. And that is a completely different problem because one person is genuinely unpredictable. Try it. Watch someone walk through the door. Are they hungry? Did they eat lunch? Are they here for the food or because it was somebody's turn to choose? Are they going to have 4 plates or fall asleep after one? You cannot know. Nobody can know. 1 customer is noise. Now watch 20. The picture is still jumpy. 1 birthday party can wreck your evening. Watch 100. And something odd starts happening. The big eaters and the small eaters begin canceling each other out, not because anyone is being moderate, because for every man doing his taxes with shrimp, there is a woman who came for the company and ate a bread roll. Watch 400, and the wobble almost disappears. The same total, near enough, on the same Tuesday, in the same weather, every week. That is the whole trick, and it is the same one an insurance company runs. 1 house burning down is unpredictable. 10,000 houses is a spreadsheet. The buffet is not gambling on your appetite. It is pooling it. Which leaves a better question. If they are not saving money on food, where is the money coming from? Stand at the pass of a normal restaurant. An order arrives. Somebody reads it, cooks it, plates it, sends it, and then does the whole thing again for the next person, and the next. Now stand in a buffet kitchen. Nobody is cooking for a person. They are cooking 100 portions of one thing and pushing it out on a tray. One consultant who works with Buffett operators, quoted in that same reporting, estimated the gap like this. A cook in a regular restaurant might serve around 25 people an hour. A cook on a buffet line, around 200. That's one experienced estimate, not a law of physics, but you can feel it the moment you walk in. Nobody takes your order. Nobody carries your plate. Nobody asks how everything is tasting. The labor a restaurant spends on you personally has been deleted, and the last piece of it, the carrying, you're doing yourself, for free, while thinking you're getting away with something. That's the trade. Worse food cost, far fewer hands per guest. Except that trade creates a new problem, and it is the one that decides whether the building survives. The food was cooked before you arrived. A normal kitchen mostly cooks after you order. A buffet has to guess. The line has to look generous at 6 o'clock when the room is full, and it still has to look generous at 8:30 when it isn't. Most of the evening's food cost is committed before anybody walks through the door. Two different things get wasted here, and it is worth keeping them apart. The first is measurable, because researchers have literally weighed it. In one set of buffet restaurants, somewhere between 11 and 13% of the food served was never eaten. Unmanaged breakfast buffets have been measured at around 300 grams of plate waste per guest, against roughly 130 grams for plated service. The second one is harder to measure, and operators talk about it more. It's the tray that never got emptied, food produced to keep the line looking abundant and bend at closing. I can't give you a clean percentage for that, because the people who know aren't publishing it. But operator and trade reporting keeps pointing at the same problem. The expensive mistake is not on your plate, it's on the counter. So the buffet's biggest controllable cost has surprisingly little to do with how hungry you are. Now think about what that means for the empty chairs. The building is rented whether it's full or not. The ovens ran anyway. The manager is there anyway. The lights are on anyway. And tonight's food, most of it, is already cooked. So what does one more customer actually cost? Almost nothing beyond the food they take and the plate somebody washes. Once the rent, the wages, and most of tonight's cooking have already been paid for, the next guest through the door can cost the kitchen surprisingly little, which is why a buffet at capacity is a beautiful machine. And what does an empty seat cost? Nothing extra. That's precisely the problem. It costs nothing and it brings nothing, while the rent, the wages, and the cooked food have already been paid for. The bill for the evening arrived early, and every empty chair is one fewer person to split it with, which means the number that decides whether tonight work was never appetite. It's attendance. And that is how buffets actually die, not in some blaze of overeating, quietly, when the room thins out. Before the pandemic, Las Vegas had more than 50 casino buffets. It now has around 12, and the Strip is down to roughly 7. Golden Corral went from about 490 restaurants to around 300 during the pandemic, with franchisees going bankrupt along the way. It finished last year at 348. Souplantation and Sweet Tomatoes didn't shrink slowly at all. When self-service was banned, 97 restaurants and about 4,400 jobs went to zero in a single announcement. The model had no other setting. The NPD Group counted buffets falling 26% since 1998, while restaurants overall grew. Not one of those closures happened because the customers ate too much. So here is the machine you actually walked into. A price set for an average, a kitchen built to make labor disappear, a food cost the owner is content to run higher than the restaurant next door, because he is buying throughput with it. An evening's food committed before opening, on a bet about how many people are coming, and a room quietly sorted into prices before anyone sits down, by meal time, and by how old the children are. One survey of 30 buffets put the typical ticket at about $20 and the net margin at roughly 5%. 5% on a $20 meal, that is $1. That dollar is not taken from you. It is the average of everybody. The man on his fifth plate, the couple who had a salad and left, the child paying a child's price, the table that ordered drinks, which in restaurants generally carry the fattest margins in the building, and the table that drank tap water. You were never one customer against a restaurant. You were one number inside an average. So go ahead, take the shrimp, take the steak, take 3 desserts, and eat $30 of food on a $20 ticket. You'll have done it. You will genuinely have beaten your ticket. And it will change nothing, because 100 other plates went out tonight, and every single one of them was already counted. You can beat your ticket. You can't beat the room.